Hi, boys and girls. I'm back to read to you third grade Angels. We're ready for chapter 8, Perfect. For our first work of the day, we started to learn cursive. The 26 letters, capitals and little ones, were written on a green track across the top of the board. Our job was to copy capitals, A to Z, 5 times each. I was super neat and careful. I kept the letters perfect between the blue lines on the paper, except when they had to go below for the J, Y, and Z. Mrs. Sims walked around looking over our shoulders. When she stopped next to me, she tapped her finger on my desk and whispered, "Good." We did map reading. Mrs. Sims spun the big globe. She asked who could come up and point to the Indian Ocean. She called on Noah Jablonski. He missed it. She called on Diana Briggs. Not even close. She called on me, and I nailed it. In math, Mrs. Sims said, by the end of the year, we're going to add and subtract numbers up to, she wrote it on the board, 10,000. How much is that, she said. Joey called out, 1,000,000. Mrs. Sims didn't even look at him. When you don't raise your hand, she ignores you. I raised my hand and she called on me. 10,000, I said. I was right. Mrs. Sims read us a story. It was about a city kid who spends his summers on a farm. When she came to a strange word, she stopped. The word was husbandry. Anybody know what husbandry means? She asked the class. Only one hand went up. Emma Feldman. She said, a married man. Wrong. Joey's hand shot up. 2 married men? Everybody laughed. I raised my hand. George, could I go get the dictionary and look it up? She smiled. Be my guest. I went to the dictionary. It sits on its own little table called a podium. Mrs. Sims spelled the word for me, and I looked it up. I read aloud, on a farm, growing crops and raising animals. A couple of kids clapped. Joey whistled. Mrs. Sims glared at him, but I could tell she wasn't really mad. In the playground, I did a nice thing. We chose sides for the basketball team. I was a chooser. I chose the best players until the last one. Then I chose Walter Gilpner. Everyone was shocked, including Walter. Nobody ever chooses Walter. When he shoots the ball, forget about the basket, he can't even hit the backboard. When Walter got over the shock, he stuffed his glasses in his pocket and cried out, "Let's go!" I never saw a kid so happy and excited. It made me feel good. Mrs. Sims was at the fence talking to another teacher. I wondered if she saw what I did. At lunch, we had sloppy joes and a green vegetable, peas. 3 days a week, we have a green vegetable. I never take it. This time, I did. I was the only one at my table with peas. Joey picked one out of my dish and flicked it at Bernard Weber. Secretly, I hoped the other guys would dig in and start a big pea fight until there weren't any peas left. I ate my sloppy joe as slow as I could. I drank my chocolate milk. And still, my dish was full of peas, -1. Lunch hour was almost over. I gobbled them down. I tried not to taste them. But on the way back to class, I felt good. I felt like an angel. That's how I felt for the rest of the day. As I walked out to the classroom, I said, "Goodbye, Mrs. Sims." She said, "Goodbye, George." And the way she smiled at me, it was like she was sending me a message. You were perfect today. I was first on the bus. As I sat there, I replayed the day in my head. Mrs. Sims was right. I was perfect. I sat up straight on my bus seat. I looked out. I saw Mrs. Sims standing at our classroom window. I'm pretty sure she was looking at me. I'm pretty sure she was smiling. In a couple of minutes, the bus was mobbed. Zipper Nose flopped into the seat right across the aisle from me. She had to lean forward because her pink backpack was so stuffed. She didn't look at me. She was gabbing away with some other second graders in the seat in front of her. It was the weirdest feeling when I realized I was looking at her. I never look at her, but I was. And that's when a really scary question came to me. And that's the end of chapter 8.